Hello and welcome, Exiles, to the Day 3 update to the Mana Righteous Fire build. Today's upgrades have mostly featured the Choir of the Storm specifically, which, to be quite frank, I'm swapping to this a bit early. It's one of those upgrades where it's like late game, it's really, really good. Early game, a rare amulet could be similar value. But I just want to get the swap done, so that way every time I improve my lightning res, every time I get gear upgrades, I get to feel that improvement as I'm like upgrading the character, rather than hold out until I have like really good gear to support the lightning res scaling, if that makes sense. So that is what we did today. We swapped to this amulet, and the more substantial improvements, I'd have to say, really came from doing things like a rare pair of gloves, a rare belt, adding in some clusters to the build, which I'll go over to, doing some rare jewels, which allowed me to swap out of Rise of the Phoenix. Those were the more substantial things that actually made my character better, is what I would say. And right now, our DPS on the character, if I check the tooltip, is 1.8 million in a map, but that's with like some buffs for the tooltip. If we're not getting buffed by, like, for example, I don't know if I picked up Delve Sulfide nodes or a shrine or whatever, that's our tooltip is actually 1.3 mil. So we've made some substantial improvements. Probably maybe we're dealing 50%, 60% more damage than we were yesterday. And that is in part mostly to the rare pieces I'm going to go over. So we did swap to the amulet. This amulet, pretty simple: stack lightning res, get percent mana. It's based on overcapped res, so everything you have over your cap. So for right now, I'm getting about 100% increased mana from this amulet. Now, that also required me to invest a lot of my suffixes into lightning res, a lot of my jewels, and a lot on other gear pieces. But later on, as we get better and better gear, it'll give us more and more value. The bigger improvements are probably in that we went for a rare belt. We went for a percent int belt that we crafted with some spite essences, looking for mana, ES. Life is okay because we still are using ivory. Later on, we're going to swap out of ivory, but while we're still wearing ivory, life isn't half bad because it gives you some extra ES, as well as we're trying to get ourselves some attributes, dex, int, so that way we can afford to maybe drop, like, for example, we had this dex node, we're able to drop that now, and we got Awaken Swift. So we're going to start trying to level this up and get our Awaken Gems to give that extra damage boost, because Awaken Gems give quite a bit of damage when they're all capped out at level 5. Other than that, the bigger change that happened to the tree involved dropping all of these nodes in the center here, and doing a bit of repath where we were giving up the top here to go for the bottom pathing, and we went for 2 clusters. These clusters are not very good, they're okay. We got one with lightning res, chaos res, some effect, and a little bit of mana, and we got one with lightning res, some ES, and all attribute. Late game large clusters, we're going to go for T1 lightning res plus like T1 all res or T1 int, plus mana, plus effect. That's kind of what we're going to be shooting for in our late game clusters. Early game, we just took some okay clusters that were level 84, and we started just doing some reforged lightnings until we hit just some decent mods that would work for the character. The larger benefit that happened when we added these clusters was actually us adding jewel sockets. You'll notice we no longer have Rise of the Phoenix because we were able to add in rare jewels which have maximum fire res on a lot of these jewels here, as well as we added a Watcher's Eye with the Gain Clarity stat, which is going to help us push that ES. As for Watcher's Eye mods, in the Better Trading Search, I have a list of good mods on them. Gain Clarity, Dot Multi-Malevolence are probably 2 of the best ones. We don't have Malevolence in the build yet. Later on, we would like to drop Purity of Elements to put Malevolence into the build for more damage, but that will be down the road on the character, not right this instant. So yeah, that's some of the jewel changes that happened. Getting more jewels with max res made it feel like, okay, we can swap out the shield and it will just work. For reference, right now we're at 85 max res, which works pretty well when we're running a Ruby that has almost permanent uptime while mapping for 90 res. Later on, you know, when we push towards more endgame scaling, we'll just want permanent 90 or all, well, we'll just want 90 all res in general as we're min-maxing the build. But for right now, this works as a decent solution. Having ourselves, I think it is 4 2 max res jewels, which takes us from 75, no, sorry, 5 2 max res jewels, which takes us to 75 to 85, and then Ruby takes us the rest of the way to 90. So yeah, those are some of the bigger changes we made today. It was all about getting rares and going for the choir swap. Bit early for this. A rare amulet would probably be somewhat comparable if you reallocate some of that suffix power from lightning res into other useful stats and you have a good rare. You'd probably be at a similar, if not maybe even higher mana value, as this is a very early point for us to equip this, but I just wanted to get it done so that way every time I upgrade my res throughout my gearing, I'll feel the impact of those upgrades because I'll be wearing this amulet. That was just my thought process. So yeah, that is the current update. Right now we are working our way through trying to get ourselves set up to do a lot of Uber Elders because we're trying to farm ourselves an Indigon. I'll probably try to do some Feared today. I was buying some of the Cirrus fragments as well, so maybe we'll try to do some Feared and see how that goes. That's just the rough plan for the character. Hopefully you guys are having fun in Pox League. I'm really kind of getting psyched about upgrading and min-maxing this character and progressing it. And yeah, that's just what we're going to be shooting towards. If you're wondering how can you go about trying to get yourself some decent rare upgrades, I would highly recommend using the Genesis tree, going for things like increased defense mods, no attack or reduce attack mods, reduce life mods, maybe prioritize shields or prioritize gloves and have increased chance for attributes. Those are the sorts of stats you want to go for when you're trying to roll some decent gloves and shield. The tree will print them, or just look at buying them on trade. Yeah. Anyways, that's the update for today. Tomorrow's update, hopefully we'll be wearing an Indigon. We'll see how today goes. As always, thanks for watching, Exiles. Take care and peace out. Have a good one.